All right, so hopefully the previous two videos is helping you guys master this concept of river inverse both sides. And as you can see, now we're looking at two-step equations, but we could still use the same technique, okay? So I see an equation, the first thing that I want to do, first step, just drop down that river, okay? It helps me organize the information. Okay, so river inverse, right? You always want to do the inverse operation furthest away from the variable first. So at this point, 2x stays put, so I really want to get rid of this 5, so I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. With that said, we know that the 5's cancel out because they are inverse, and so now the 2x comes down, so you have 2x equals, and 15 minus 5 is going to give you 10. At this point, you continue the river and you do the inverse operations. You divide by 2 because it's multiplication, and so now 2 divided by 2 cancels out. You get x is equal to 5. And notice how neat and organized this work looks, okay? So let's try it again, but this time it's with more challenging integers, but that's perfectly fine because we should know our integer rules at this point. Drop the river, you're going to, the 6x stays put, so that means this has to go. I'm going to add 12x on both sides, or add 12 on both sides. These two cancel out. You can see that the 6x is going to be coming down. Negative 24 plus 12, different sign, subtract. Take the sign of the higher number, which is negative. So 24 minus 12 is 12. Take the sign of the higher number, that makes it negative 12. Okay, we got to be very careful with our signs. Then we simply, again, continue river inverse, divide by 6 on both sides. And here we go, we have x is equal to negative 2 as your final answer. Okay, let's take a look at this. Slightly more complicated. It's an area where a lot of scholars make mistakes, so pay careful attention, okay? Drop the river, great. This 6 out here is positive. Therefore, the inverse of this positive 6 has to be minus 6. So that's a potential first error, okay? So obviously the 6's now can cancel out. The number one error that a lot of scholars make is that they just bring down this 3x, okay? Whereas in fact, the place where the error is that this is actually a negative 3x. So really you want to bring down a negative 3x right there, okay? And then negative 15, right? You're always combining on this side. Negative 15 plus negative 6 is going to give you negative 21. Same signs, add and keep. And then finally, you guys are going to have to be dividing river inverse both sides again. So now these two cancel out. You're left with x is equal to positive 7 because you hate to hate. So you hate, or negative divided by negative is positive. So therefore x is equal to positive 7. All right, one last example to stamp this home. Notice how the variables on the right-hand side, it's perfectly fine. Just leave it there, okay? Just drop the river. And then the variable stays, that means this has to go, so I'm going to subtract 10 on both sides. Okay, this cancels out. 20 minus 10 is going to give me 10 equals, and be careful, most scholars will bring down the x, but it's actually a negative in front, so it's negative x. At this point, we're not done yet because we're solving for x. So the final step is that we are dividing by negative 1 on both sides. Okay, and when you divide by negative 1, negative divided by negative equals a positive x, and then 10 divided by negative 1 gets you negative 10. So this is the answer, or you could rewrite it again, x equals negative 10. Okay, as the final answer.